Pacific Nations Cup, folks, the third round of the competition. Tonga and Fiji in action over in Tonga. Another Friday afternoon game. Someone will have to explain to me why these games aren't being played on Saturdays. I feel like more people have free time to watch rugby on Saturdays than Fridays, but not a bad crowd for a Friday and a fair few away fans for the Flying Fijians, and they were treated to a 50-point performance. The Tongans did manage to get 19 points in a row after conceding 19 points in a row, but those are the only points the Tongans scored. So it's kind of Fiji, Tonga, and then Fiji for the entirety of the game. Fiji will be a little bit disappointed with some lack of discipline. Tonga punished when it was a 15-on-14 game, but otherwise didn't score any points. Ultimately, Fiji topped their pool, and Tonga at the bottom will end up playing Canada in the next round of the Pacific Nations Cup. We'll go through some of the key events and some stats and whatnot, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. But man, like nice weather, good crowd, like I mentioned, and what a start from Fiji. They went bang, bang, bang as the Tongan boys just didn't catch some of those kicks through. The first one, the Tongans let a high ball bounce. That gives Fiji a bit of territory. They spread the ball wide. Mussy is able to go over. We're talking a minute plus into the game. 5-0 with a misconversion. A couple of minutes later, Fiji get their second. Again, it's a high ball. It's Kawara Levu who's able to gather it unopposed from a Fijian kick through. He just runs through and gathers it. He gets the ball to Kanaveri, who has a great finish for a hooker. He is a very athletic player. 12 points to 0, and then it's all Fiji. They get a scrum penalty. They go for touch. They go for a maul. Whanakavata goes over. 19-0 after like 10, 11 minutes. It is all Fiji. However, there's a bit of handbags, and it was because of a bit of a foul play incident. The midfielder, Kotangi, has put in a shoulder to the head of Mataele. It's dumb. It looks pretty bad. Whichever angle you look at it, it's just a clean out where he's going shoulder to head. There's not much doing with it. Angus Gardner was like, is he trying to rap, isn't he? But no, the TMO ends up kind of, and I guess the ARs get their way, and he ends up getting the yellow card, which later on gets upgraded to a red. Now, with the man advantage, Tonga actually got their game going. They punished virtually immediately with a kind of chip over of their own. Paya is able to grab a great bouncing ball, which is a pretty sick bounce for the Fijian guys, but sometimes the rugby ball does funny things, so that gets Tonga on the board at 19-7. Yellow card then gets the upgraded to red news, which I think it was always going to get because it was a pretty bad hit. Then Fine Anisi scores maybe one of the kind of everyone was pretty nice as well. One of the nicest tries of the game. One of the nicest tries you've seen. If you haven't seen the highlights, well worth checking out. Pellegrini with the cross kick to Itupo, I think it was, and then like nice little shimmy offload, and then he gets the finish. Does Anisi with a little bit of power. 19 points to 14, and then with a Caleb Muntz soft penalty to be conceding on Pellegrini. Like, was he going for a kick? He just charges him down a little bit late, makes some contact, gives the Tongans more field position. We end up with a offside penalty from Fiji, so the discipline's really going kind of back to back to back. 5-meter scrum, Pellegrini is able to go over. It's a nice scrum move. 19 points apiece. So Tonga have gone from being dead and buried, looking at a heck of a scoreline, to being tied up. They've absolutely punished the Fijian guys for their ill discipline. Once Fiji go back to 15 men, though, the kind of regular service does resume. Tonga end up conceding a bunch of penalties, although the Fijian handling was really, really poor as they were trying to force the game. Some really loose passes, but once they got some territory on the back of the Tongan ill discipline, kick for the corner, go for the maul. Whanakaiwata gets his second of the game, so they go into the sheds with a 26-19 win, halftime lead. The territory and position have actually evened out. Fiji's coughed up a lot more ball, 9 turnovers conceded to 5 by halftime. Clean breaks are 5 apiece, and Fiji have coughed up 6 penalties to 4. So many of them kind of in that kind of quick succession period. Second half starts. Tonga get a penalty through Big Ben Tameofuno at the breakdown, which is pleasing. Both sides are scrambling well on D to prevent any further points being scored, but you can feel Fiji's really trying to up the tempo. They're going for quick taps, quick lineouts, but the finishing is not quite there. But it would come, but not until they had initially kind of switched tack. They ended up opting for a three-pointer on 56 minutes just to bring it into a two-score game territory because they had a bunch of chances not finished off. So I guess you kind of might as well take the points while they were on offer. And then that seemed to just open the floodgates, man. A few minutes later, the hands finally stick. You get Darren Alangi with a nice kind of turning his back on the opposition pass, keeping the ball quick. Ravai popping up from the deck, and then Muntz with the inside ball to Tabuavu. 58 minutes. It is try time. That one was pretty sweet. Tonga apply some pressure, go through some phases. Turnover ball ends up being a Fijian try, which gets chalked off from the TMO. That one was Karawalevu. He gets denied 2 tries in this game. That one was denied for a knock-on. 68 minutes, Fiji go through 10 phases. The Fijians can't break the Tongan defense. It holds. Muntz puts through a kick over the top, but it's well marked by the Tongan defenders. So I'm thinking Fiji aren't really finding that magic solution to unlock the Tongan defense. But the next time they have a crack at it, bunch of phases. Darren Langi shows some power, close range, goes over. The lead is really being extended now. Karawalevu gets denied his second for a forward pass, but it's not the final try of the game because Masi gets his second on 76 minutes with an intercept. 50 points up for Fiji. Pretty emphatic at the end of the day. I mean, Masi finishes with 13 carries, 146 meters, 2 tries, beats 3 defenders. Momo had 3 clean breaks on the other wing. Ikanaveri had 62 meters, which is not bad for a hooker. He gets man of the match. Pellegrini for Tonga looks the businessman. He had 9 defenders beaten. Fatuli Paia had 15 tackles. Otuanisi had 14 tackles, but a lot of time spent defending for the Tongan boys. If it feels like I'm in a rush, it's because my dinner is waiting for me. I'm going to go have that. Hope you guys enjoyed the match. If you watched it, it's on Rugby Pass from many territories. It was on Sky here in New Zealand. I'm sure the highlights will be up on World Rugby at some point. They've also been putting some of the full matches up for the Pacific Nations Cup. The other Pacific Nations Cup match this weekend is Japan against the US. I will be watching that probably a bit delayed because it's on a few hours before the South African All Blacks game, which I will likely be sleeping at the time of. So I'll be sleeping through the Japan game and watch it later on in the morning. But yeah, Tonga's going to play Canada for the kind of 5th place playoff, and then Fiji will be taking on either Japan or USA in the semi-finals. So interesting one to see. You guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.